Super. Hi, Phil.
Hi. Hi, Will.
How you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Great stuff. Um, so yeah, we wanted to talk about GST.
Yes, the Global Sales Transformation event we have every year.
Yeah,
Look,
exactly. I mean, why don't we just get straight into it? So yeah, for those that don't know, what is GST? Um,
what is
what's it about?
GST? It's an event that we started a long time ago, probably about 17 years ago. Um, it's called Global Sales Transformation, and we wanted to use this as an opportunity to bring sales leaders, key account leaders, senior salespeople together to kind of reflect on some of the topical issues that we're facing at the time. And initially, we wanted to use it as a vehicle to share research that's been conducted by some of our master's students, and that still continues to this day. But it's we're at our 19th event now, which is amazing. Most of those are hosted at the London Stock Exchange. This year it's on the 28th of November, starting at midday. And every time we get to a GST, we say how excited we are about it, really excited with the topics, with the speakers. And so, yeah, looking forward to sharing a few more bits of information about it on this podcast.
Sure. And yeah, 19th is it's not quite the rounded milestone, but still it's an impressive number.
It
Um,
is. Yeah.
And
It,
as you mentioned, we usually host it at the London Stock Exchange.
yeah.
I know that's quite a personal decision for you. Why do why do you think it's right that we host at the London Stock Exchange?
I think because of the symbolism of the stock exchange, it's the center of commerce. It's a great venue. When you go up into the sort of auditorium area at the stock exchange, you're surrounded by the financial um, indices and screens, and it's just you feel as though you're at the heart of commerce. And I've always felt, obviously sales is at the heart of commerce. Unless we sell, we don't trade. Unless we, if we don't trade, we don't perform well as a business. So for me, it's been it's the symbolism of the stock exchange, which is a big attraction.
Mm.
But the venue itself is fantastic. It's got great sort of amphitheaters, audio facilities, nice areas to network in. And of course, we have the happenstance below, which is a great place to have networking drinks afterwards, which are always good fun as well.
Yeah, it's quite an intimate venue,
It
isn't it? So
is. Yeah, it
it's
is. It's surprising that normally sort of amphitheaters, if you go back to sort of college lecture hall types of environments, are rather remote, but there's an intimacy about the particular theatre that we use that makes it very easy to engage with the audience, and it's something that we've always tried to do. Um, and as time has gone on, and we get a lot of people coming back to GST events. We're finding that the interaction is always at a really high level, which is something that we try and encourage. So yeah, really excited by GST. It's the most important event we run each year. Yeah, with our sponsors as well. This year we've got IntraHive as being our technical sponsor, and we've had organisations like Middlesex University, of course. Our academic partners in the past also sponsoring the event as well. So yeah, really excited about it.
great. And so for GST 19, what's the theme?
Well, we decided this year to focus on key account management, and I think for a number of reasons. One is that if we start to look at the trends that we're beginning to see happening in the sales industry, that the role of key account management is, in our view, becoming more and more important. And And so we have, we've had previous events that have talked about key account management, but not within the context of a world which is now sort of very much AI driven. There's some technology advances that are enabling us to better handle, better manage our key accounts. We've also got students who've done some interesting research around key account management and selling as well. So we felt it appropriate to actually bring some of these themes together for the event that we're doing in November.
And just going back to something you just mentioned, why do you think it's even more important? Why key account management is more important today than it has been in the past?
I think that from what we're hearing is that the ability to sell to net new is becoming tougher, and therefore we need to get smarter. Yes, at net new names, but also in the way that we sort of look after our key account relationships. A lot of the research that we've done in the past suggests that the approach to key account management that organizations take is a little fragmented. They don't appreciate the complexity and effort required to manage relationships in the longer term. There's certain research statistics that show if you manage to look after your key accounts in the right way, there are massive opportunities for potential to grow in terms of white space analysis and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of the reason why we believe it's important to actually focus on this particular topic. I think generally when you start to look at some of the trends, for example, there's sort of recent McKinsey reports come out that suggest that more and more now companies, even for large ticket value items, are wanting to do this in a completely autonomous and automatic way. And so we're really having to look at value creation, I think, in a way that makes the key account manager sort of relevant for the kind of customers that they're selling to. So these are some of the issues that we want to address, at the event. I think it's, it's interesting times at the moment. So yeah, key account management should be, I think, a focal strategy for all organizations who are wanting to protect their key accounts and grow their business.
So who should be coming? Who do you expect to see there?
Well, obviously key account managers themselves. We've got we've got over 100 people already registered for the event, and if you start to look at the people ranging from key account management into heads of sales to also people involved in sales and enablement. What we're doing at this event is we're sort of bringing together a little bit the art and science of key account management. We have people talking about, from the art perspective, the ways in which they have managed to really deepen and broaden account relationships from an interpersonal relational point of view. And we'll be exploring with them the kind of approaches that have been taken to do that. So a human to human kind of interaction. And I've been intrigued with some of the conversations I've had, in fact, with some of the speakers coming to this event about how linguistics is so important in the way in which relationships are sort of developed. When I talk about linguistics, I'm talking about the way words are sort of selected, and I think it brings some new insights into ways in which relationships can develop. requires a huge amount of emotional intelligence to know quite what word to use at what time in order to kind of progress and deepen a relationship. I have, for some time, been really interested in the work of Professor Elizabeth Stoker, who's now at London University, who's a sort of conversational analytics expert, probably the premier person on this topic in the UK, if not globally, actually. And I've been very interested to see what we can learn from the way in which she has analyzed conversations in order to turn situations around. And I'm delighted that Liz is going to be one of the keynote speakers at this event. She's an amazing presenter. It's going to be very entertaining and interesting. But we shall be talking about, well, with Liz, talking about the research that she's done and how she feels her research can be applied to the way in which we engage conversationally with clients. So this is very much the art of key account management.
Sounds
And
fascinating. Is
yeah, it
there
is. Yeah, it's such a. I'm reading a book of hers at the moment called Crisis Negotiation, where she goes into say forensic detail, actually, the way in which you can influence someone who's about to jump off, a bridge or out of a window, or someone who's barricaded themselves into a house and threatening to commit suicide. And what she's done is she's sort of looked at the words that can push a conversation towards a good conclusion. And I'm really interested to see how we can connect some of her insights into the way in which we might start to think about the way we plan for conversations with clients and what kind of skills are required to be exceptional at moving conversations along. So we've always tried at these events to bring someone outside of sales to give a sort of contrasting point of view for us in sales. And Liz is actually fitting that bill, I think, rather well.
yeah.
But we also know that from a technology point of view, there are all sorts of tools out there now that can help analyze conversation and sentiment analysis. So what we're also going to be doing with this event is sort of bringing together some of the sort of technologies that are enable us to look at how we can analyze opportunities as they're progressing through the pipeline. So it's a very nice, I think, convergence of technology versus a really sound underpinning from an academic standpoint of the importance of conversation analytics.
Hmm. Could you give some insight as to who from the sales industry might also be joining us?
As speakers or as
Speakers.
participants, in terms of speakers, well, we have a couple of speakers that are very much going to be talking about the way they manage key accounts, and one of the speakers comes from a civil engineering company called Mott MacDonald. This is David Beer, and when I was interviewing David about one of his key accounts, which is Heathrow Airport, he was talking about some of the the journey that he went on when he inherited the account and how it's sort of grown to be the account that it is now with that organization. And so he's going to be giving his insights into the triggers that have enabled them to have tripled the account penetration, if not more, at Heathrow. And then we have Luke Skinner, who's an alumni of Consalia, and Luke has had an amazingly interesting sort of career in global account management or key account management, initially looking after the the Barclays account in the City of London, but now has joined the strategic deals team at SAP. And we're going to ask Luke to actually share his experiences of how he's used some of the insights that he gained from his master's program into the way that he's helped grow the Barclays account, and actually also how he's applying that to the strategic proposals that he's now kind of working on. So I'm really excited to have Luke and David there as practitioners, as key account sort of leaders, talking about how they're managing their accounts. We have some amazing sort of panel speakers as well. So we're going to invite these speakers, and also a lady over from Denmark called Brigitte Pingle, who is a senior VP of Genpact now. But of all the people that I've ever worked with in the winning of large account space, I think Brigitte is one of those in the top sort of 1% of exceptional professionals. And I worked with Brigitte years ago when I was doing my doctorate on a couple of opportunities. One was with Unilever and the other was Reuters. And I was really taken by the audacity that kind of Brigitte used in order to make things happen. And a lot of it was directed internally. It wasn't audacity towards the client. It was the way in which she leveraged the very best of, in her situation, it was Hewlett Packard at the time, in order to bring huge value to clients that she was working with. And she had this uncanny knack of playing the political landscape within HP in order to bring value to her clients. And I don't quite know how she did it, but she did it, and she did it really well. I'm sure she's still doing it now. But so we're going to ask Brigitte to come and share kind of her journey in this space as well. And she'll be one of the panelists that will be joining us. And we've got a number of others. We haven't quite confirmed the names yet. People who've been on previous podcasts with Consalia that we're just sort of in the process of lining up. But then really excitingly, and I think it's very timely, we've also got now Dr. Ryan O'Sullivan, who will be talking. And he's just written an amazing book on relationship management. He works for a company called IntraHive. They're one of the sponsors of this year's GST. And we'll be talking about the way in which I mean, I think he's written the definitive book on relationship management, actually, and he's going to be sharing his book. I think those coming may have a copy of his book as well as part of what you'll get out of GST. But we're super excited. We've got a long-term relationship with IntraHive. We use them to help us manage some of our sort of relationship capital concepts that we'll talk about at GST as well. But Ryan's going to be also giving a talk about his book, his findings, and sharing his insights with the audience.
Great. Yeah, look forward to it. And finally, when is it? Where is it? How can you get tickets?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned the date already. I'll mention it again. It's the 28th of November. It's at the London Stock Exchange, which is located very close to St. Paul's Cathedral. It starts at round midday-ish, and it finishes at 5 in the afternoon, and there'll be drinks and networking drinks in the evening for those that would like to join us. And I think in the show notes will be the details of how to be able to get access to the tickets to come and join us at the London Stock Exchange. So, yeah, hopefully those of you listening to the podcast will be excited by some of the themes we're talking about and want to come and join us. So we've still got a few places left. I'm not sure how many. I'm looking across it. Well, maybe you and George now, but I think we've got a few places left. But we've got over 100 people already booked. Yeah,
Yeah, so the venue has spaces for roughly 150. We're a few months out. We've got about 20 spaces left, so expect a sold out capacity.
yeah,
So if
that's amazing.
this sounds interesting, you would like to come, you work in senior account management, or you're someone senior operating in sales, I think this is a very relevant event for you, and it would be a great opportunity to meet and also network with other like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Will.